From the Standing Stone Farm Studio right outside downtown Nashville, it's time for the most ridiculous sports podcast in the world. So sit back, relax, and listen as Bobby Butler and Brandon Bond crack open a cold one and talk all things hockey, pop culture, and complain about everyday situations. It's the Pucks Out Podcast on the Penalty Box Radio Network.
Welcome into the most ridiculous podcast in sports and pop culture. I'm Bobby. He's Brandon.
Hey-o.
You can find us on the three majors of social media at Pucks Out Pod. Now let's crack open this cold Mayday beer and let's get after it. As always, Pucks Out is powered by Mayday Brewery, the official beer Pucks Out podcast. Check them out every Tuesday for Singo and Thursday for Bingo. We just got done hosting yet again, and it was another amazing night. We had a lot of fun, so look forward to us, announcing another date, maybe in the next couple months. Who knows? But yeah, it was a fun time. Brandon, how'd you enjoy our bingo night?
Doing great. And I enjoyed our bingo night. Sorry, I wasn't listening to you as usual, bro. Yeah, man, I loved our bingo night as usual. Our boy, Nate Peterson won him another set of tickets. I'm now thinking he's stuffing the box and cheating, possibly, but not able to prove it. So my man got himself some more soccer tickets. It was good to see. The nice group of ladies, I believe the Burroughs Girls Club group, they were Burrow girls
gang
for sure. Yeah, they were gang in there, throwing up gang signs in there. So it was like a dangerous spot to be that night for sure. But no, man, it was fun. We had a blast as we traditionally do.
Yeah. Today we've got a lot of stuff to cover. We've got inside and outside the NHL. We're talking the NHL All-Stars. We've got the NFL playoffs, and we got games of the week and much, much more. So how you doing this week, dude?
Doing good, man. I think I'm answering the right question now, Bob. I am. Yes. I'm allowed to say I'm doing good. Okay, I'm doing good. No, man. Had a blast at your mom's house the other night. I always getting the crab cakes and the she crab soup. Always a fun time, man. NFL playoffs. This snow has been great, brother. We've been enjoying it. Harper's been enjoying it. Been having some, we went over to her uncle's across the street, and, had some beers out in the snow. Dude, it's nice. It's a nice little fun thing. What I don't get is, people are, I could never live in a place with all this snow. How do you get warm? You just wear the appropriate clothing.
Yeah.
They would just have
and
go
inside occasionally
to wear. Right. Like we were in Minneapolis and for that week, and granted it was cold.
Yeah.
But you just wear Under Armour, dude, and you just layer appropriately and make sure none of your skin is seeing that wind or whatever.
Yeah.
So, man, we always enjoy a nice little snow day like this. So, what do you got rocking, brother? You got a fit check going on?
Yeah, man. Just rocking my my lazy house clothes. So I got slippers on, my sleeveless tee, and just a Sounds. I almost said a National Sounds hat, a National SC hat on. Just kicking it. But yeah, man. To your point about I was out. Meg and I were outside last night right before the sun went down with the dogs, just kind of playing with them because they don't get to see this that often. So we went out and threw snowballs with the dogs, and I literally just threw on some boots, some sweatpants, gloves, and a hoodie, and I was fine. As long as you got gloves on, because your hands get real cold. And other than that, it's cold, but it's not like, oh my god, this is the coldest it's ever been.
You keep the hands cold, you keep the head cold, you keep the toes warm. Keep those three things warm. You can pretty much stay warm. People are watching the football game. How do they have no sleeves on? Because that's not what matters, dude. It doesn't. Nobody's ever been like, dude, I can't get warm because I can't get my forearm warm. No, bro, you just got warm, cold forearm now. It's all good. Your hands are good. Your feet are good, bro. Your head's warm. You're fine, dude.
Yeah. How about you, man? What you got for fit check today?
Oh yeah, man. I just had to do it. We missed last week, so I had to do it in honor of my boy Nick Saban. had to wear the hey Nick, you got a second, because now he's got all the seconds in the world. Because now he is sitting at home. I honestly, we'll talk about it, but I don't believe it until the game and the plays out. Like I'm just fearing like midway through the season they've lost him a couple, and then like out of the tunnel comes, and it's Nick Saban with a steel clipboard, and he's just back, baby. He's just coaching. Oh, and right behind him, Ric Flair. Woo! Just I'm like, no.
He just comes out and gives a Stone Cold Stunner,
and then going with since I can wear it right now, my Purdue hat that I got from the game up there. You can wear it right now because it's not tournament time, Bob. This is a dope hat to be wearing right now, man. You know what I'm saying? Zach Edey looking strong, dude. Another, National Player of the Year, maybe. Another. I can just imagine what 16 or 15 seed team is going to be beating them here in just a couple months, man. Like we're right around the corner, dude.
Hell yeah. But all right, let's jump into Inside the Boards.
Everything you need to know about what's happening on the ice. It's time for news from Inside the Boards.
All righty. Marc-Andre Fleury takes second place in all-time wins with win number 552, and he did it in style while getting his 74th career shutout. Obviously, Marc-Andre Fleury, future Hall of Famer with the Wild. Hey, he still got it a little bit. He still got a little something going on in that tank.
Yeah, he's a Vezina winner, Bob. He still is a Vezina winner for sure. We can always say that. No, he's killing it still. So that's a team that needed a little jolt too, dude. The Wild have been kind of falling. Kaprizov's been out. He's now back. I know that my fantasy teams are all clamoring and champing at the bit to get him back in there because he was having a pretty good season before he went out on injury. So, yeah, man. Fleury, that second place all time, that's 552 and 74 shutout. I think we've talked about this before, but obviously very easily first ballot Hall of Famer, right? I mean, even 100%. With the fake Vezina that he has, one of the greatest goaltenders of all time, no doubt.
Yeah, easily first ballot. Nichushkin with the Avalanche, he has entered the player assistance program. I don't have the full story. I know there was an update with him. The league, I think the league suspended him for some stuff, but I believe he entered for alcohol abuse. I'm not sure what stuff surrounding that. So he'll be out for several weeks at a minimum. And that is about all the news.
I
didn't
get it on the doc. Yeah, the U.S. men, the U.S. boys juniors team wins the gold in the World Junior Championship. They downed Sweden 6-2. I believe they're the host country. Is that right, Bob?
Yeah.
So sixth in history, or the sixth gold medal in history of the U.S. But they were definitely the underdogs. We were talking about that with Nate. Different Nate.
A little bit of a dramatic ending there. In the end as well.
A lot of drama. He showed us the hit from that old boy, dude. Just looked like a grown man coming across the middle, laying him out. So
yeah, he is a man.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I'm calling them boys, Bobby, because I think they legally are. I think every single one of them could just absolutely. Straight up just murk us, dude. They would just beat the crap out of us, and they would say something dumb, like they would gritty away or something. You know what I'm saying? Like they would be like, no cap, and like gritty away from our mangled bodies. So, but congrats to the U.S. Maybe that's sign. Hey, we're coming back, baby. We're gonna start winning golds in the Olympics again.
Oh yeah. All right, let's move to outside the NHL.
Now that you know what's happening inside the boards, time for the rest of the headlines with news from outside the boards.
The NFL playoffs are upon us. We are one day removed from the last day of the wild card weekend, and what a wild card weekend it was. We had Tampa just obliterating Philly in spectacular fashion. We had the Cowboys absolutely choking on national television. I say those two first because as a Commanders fan, it brings me so much happiness.
I mean,
that
it's about as good as it can get during playoff time for a Commanders fan, isn't it, Bob? I mean, it's just, what more could you ask for? And some would say, well,
here's the thing.
Just want your team to be in it? Well, look, you got to be realistic for what you want during playoff time, okay?
And let's be real here. Commander fans knew going into the season what we were about, all right? We stood on business of what we were about, all right? We were a mediocre team that got a couple solid wins but ended the season bad. We fired the GM. We knew what was going to happen. And so we had no expectations. Philly and Dallas had expectations of the Super Bowl the entire season. And guess what? They're at the golf course only 1 week after us.
I mean,
so at the end of the day, all we did was get a better tee time. So who's the real winner here?
Yeah. I mean, that's a way to look at it, Bob. And
we get a good draft pick. They get shitty draft picks.
Yeah,
and they have nothing to show for it.
It was absolutely insane. I mean, the Dolphins had a real shot if it wasn't. I mean, they got to play in -5. I saw you saw the videos of guys getting the smart waters out of the fridge where they used to keep them cold. And then it freezing immediately upon coming out of the place that it's been held to keep cold. That's why, basically saying hey, you want to have a warmer experience here in Kansas City? Get inside of this refrigerator and it will warm you up because
it's like a sauna.
This is warmer than you're getting outside. So
yeah. Miami is now 0-11 in games that are below 40 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I wonder
which
why.
Really, people always say, the frozen fish thing. That's not all that true, but it is. I mean, let's be honest here,
dude.
And some coaches don't want to talk about the weather. The weather plays a massive role in football games, whether you like it or not.
Obviously, these coaches are game planning for that and preparing for that, but you just don't want to say it. You just don't say the quiet part out loud. I mean, it's why Tom Brady loved the cold weather. I think there was a couple quotes from him hey, most people's brain shuts down when it's that cold. It's just get to that next point. He's and mine didn't. And that's what made him better in those cold weather games. So to say it doesn't have a factor, I mean, these Chiefs have done this continuously so much, and it's hard.
Yeah.
Every single aspect of the football game becomes harder. The football's harder. It hurts more. It's harder, that hit that normally when you would just pop back up on it stings a little bit more. And I think that Kansas City, also being the better team was just the more prepared team as well.
Yeah.
Rashee Rice looked great.
I think people were sleeping on Kansas City a little bit just because, this whole season, they weren't really the Kansas City that we knew. And the fact is they showed up when they had to show up.
Absolutely. But I don't know that I don't know that there was any other AFC team that couldn't have gone in there and beat Kansas City, and in normal circumstances, the Dolphins may have had the edge, but they definitely have been there before and locked it up for the game. They've been.
I think Buffalo could have gone in there and beaten that Kansas City team.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, a lot of the teams could. I feel like with the way that Houston team looked, they could have gone in there and beaten that.
Oh, I thought you were saying that no other AFC team could.
No, I'm saying saying that it literally was probably the best draw for them in terms of the teams going in there and having to play there. I think Miami was at a much bigger disadvantage than if, like you said, the Bills were to not win that division and they got to go in there. I feel like the Bills team looked real good.
Yeah, Miami was going to be screwed either way because no matter how the dice fell, they were either playing Kansas City or they were playing Buffalo and Buffalo. There was before the kickoff of the last weekend, there was no.
They could have won. Yeah, they could have won the division if somebody
but it
else
wasn't in
lost.
their own hands. Yeah,
It wasn't in
But
their
as far
hands.
as, like-
Yeah.
But as far as their destiny in their hands were concerned, it was either play at Kansas City or play at Buffalo. So they were like, well, shit, all right.
Yeah, at
And
least
I
think you'd
I
probably
think Kansas
rather
City was
play
actually. I think
at
Buffalo was actually warmer.
that, and you'd probably rather play at a place you're more familiar with, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's just the general consensus that I would think. Like, hey, yeah, it's both are going to be cold as shit, but we've at least been to here before, and you're not trying to like reacclimate and get, you've already been there that year even. So, but yeah, what a great wild card weekend.
Some other games that we didn't talk about. Houston just dismantling Cleveland.
Smash, dude. CJ Stroud
And
looks
then-
so good, dude. He looks so good.
And then I think the most competitive game of the weekend, Los Angeles and Detroit. And I like what I saw from Detroit. I think that was a emotional game for a lot of those guys.
Yep.
I think now they got the monkey off their back. They've won that first playoff game in 32 years.
Against Stafford, no less. I mean, that was a great win for the city. And I mean, it wasn't like, oh man, the Detroit just barely pulled that out. That was a good, hard fought game, top to bottom. It's one of those hard to say, hey, the better team won for sure, because that's the team who won. That's the team who scored more points in that game. So
yeah, now they take on Tampa, and I think that's a great draw for them. I think that they're going to beat this Tampa team. I think it's going to be close, but I like Detroit. I said it before we started recording, but I think Detroit is going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. From what
they absolutely,
I think
absolutely.
I can't now. I'm excited to see what San Francisco shows. We didn't get to see them this last week. San Francisco could go out there and dismantle Green Bay, and that could change my mind.
Or the kid goes in there and gets it done. The Green Bay Packers looked really good, man.
They did.
Really, really good against a really stout Tampa defense. I could absolutely see the 49ers going in there and taking care of business.
Green Bay played Dallas.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They played a great defense. I'm saying San Francisco has a great defense also, but I mean, the Dallas defense was the creme de la creme all year.
Oh, okay.
And I could see San Francisco handling business, but I really liked what I saw out of Green Bay. I will probably be throwing a few bucks on that money line.
Yeah, I think Baltimore walks out. I think Baltimore easily goes up into the next round. I just think Houston's good, but not good enough to go in and beat this amazing Baltimore team.
Yeah, it's definitely a difference of Lamar will be able to match blow for blow. But also, not playing at a home stadium, it also makes a difference. Not a dome. You're out there in the weather. That one team is more prepared for that. Makes a huge difference of going in and playing in that dome environment versus going into M&T Bank Stadium and having to battle the number 1 overall seed. So I could absolutely see them doing okay. I'm with you though. I don't think this one it would be the most surprising to me of all the matchups if it goes that way.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see this Bills-Chiefs game. I think that's going to be I don't know. I think that the AFC, I think honestly this is one of the first times I'm looking here and saying, yeah, I kind of hope the Lions and Baltimore go, but there's not a team in here that I don't think could make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Houston would be a long shot, but everyone
Tampa
else
would be
they look like real
be
competitors.
A long shot for me as well. I think they came up on a good matchup against a dwindling Philly team without AJ Brown. Hey, all the props to them. I'm not. Hey, I just feel kind of that way that I don't see their path to get there. But that being said, I didn't see their path of making it into the playoffs this year. So what do I know? They could absolutely be the representative for the Super Bowl. But I think having to get through Detroit and then either Green Bay or San Francisco, that seems far-fetched to me. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah. But all right. So do we want to get our official predictions in for the Super Bowl before we move on?
Sure. Yeah. I think you just made yours. I think you're going Baltimore, Detroit. I'm going to go with Buffalo. If you want to type yours in, I'm going to go Buffalo.
Well, so I want to clarify. What beforehand I said I would like to see Detroit.
Oh, sure.
Baltimore. I don't think that. I
think
I my official. If I was
choice,
actually, that's what I would like to see. I think my official prediction would be. See, I really want to see San Francisco before I say anything, but because I haven't yet, I'm going to say Buffalo, Green Bay.
Buffalo, Green Bay. I'm going Buffalo, Detroit.
And then I take Buffalo winning it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Buffalo winning it as well.
I'm going to say they win 41-27.
I'm going to go 27-16.
All right. So that takes us into our next portion. I forgot this wasn't our main topic. And outside the NHL news, we've got Nick Saban out, and DeBoer is in. Is that his name?
Yeah,
is DeBoer, right?
DeBoer. Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking Pete DeBoer, and I was like,
terrible hire,
but
terrible hire.
Yeah,
terrible.
Are you saying that as an Auburn fan? Or are you saying that as
I'm saying that as a team that can go out and get anybody in the country, in the world that they want, and dump any amount of dollars on their step? I think it was hasty, and I think it was the wrong choice. I could be wrong. I'm just hoping, though. I'm hoping it's the right choice for, as you're saying, as an Auburn fan. I was trying to actually be unbiased, Bobby. I think it's a great hire as an Auburn fan. I love it. I hope it works out exactly as I think it's going to work out as an Auburn fan, because I'm rooting for 90s Bama football, Bob. That's all I want, dude. That's all I want. Is I want everybody that became Alabama bandwagon football fans over the course of the past 17 years and never got to know what it was like to be a true Bama fan, or like the rest of us being fans of one thing or another. I want to see if those people are still Alabama fans. If they get a 90s run.
Now, how angry are you going to be if he actually comes in and goes back to back or something like that?
Not angry. I mean, as angry as I would be at if Nick Saban was still there and he won back to back. I mean, the thing is, it's a hard job to mess up. But it's hard following the king like that. You got to have immediate success. I could be absolutely
the first coin flip that Alabama loses, they're going to be calling for his head.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not. Yeah, I don't wish ill upon the man, other than the fact that he's about to be Alabama's football coach. I have no problems with DeBoer in general. And I mean, like I said, he's not a bad football coach. He absolutely could go in there and coach those guys up, but they're already having 5-star prospects that are decommitting and going elsewhere. Nick Saban was a big reason that folks came and played football there. So it'll be interesting to see if he can continue that process as he goes in there. Like I said, hope he doesn't.
Yeah.
Wish him all the success as a person outside of when you have that job, dude. I hope that you fail miserably, dude. I hope that you fail so bad you can't get another coaching job. I'm sorry, dude. I'm so sorry to say that to you, but I hope that's how bad Alabama looks.
I was really, really hoping that they somehow that things would line up where they bring in Lane Kiffin, because I just think that's what that everyone needs. I think everyone just needs to see that performance of Lane Kiffin there at Alabama.
No, that's too easy. That's too easy for Alabama, because then that's a really easy money scapegoat. Just scapegoat him in a year or so. DeBoer is, you've gone out and you've sought him out and grabbed him. I mean, Lane Kiffin was just the guy waiting at the door hoping to get the job. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, oh, you guys are hiring? Like,
He just kind of shows up.
He
one
just
day
every day,
maybe
dude. He just comes in.
Yeah.
He like comes in. He gives his resume. He's like, "Hey guys, in case you're ever looking, dude." They're like, "We're not." And then like the day that he announced his retirement, he's like, "Oh hell yeah, today's the day." And they're like, "No, we're not looking, dude." They're like, we're
not home.
We're hiring DeBoer from Washington." They're like, shit, damn.
Is that just because you're looking at a picture of him right now?
It's like,
no,
is that because you got the
not.
game on right now? Did they just bring him on the screen? Like, no, not at all.
That, and it was there was like, because I have a decent amount of Alabama friends. When the news dropped that they interviewed Butch Jones, the worry that they all had there for a little bit. They were all stressing out a little bit. They're like, wait a second, why is Butch Jones' name anywhere near Alabama right now?
Oh gosh, dude, brick by brick. Alabama tells nobody who they hired. They're like, hey, it's gonna be a surprise day one, dude. We're just gonna show up. And then out of the tunnel runs Butch Jones, dude. I don't know that I could be a happier person. That would be better than LeBron's decision, dude. That would.
He just goes up to the mic stand, but he just adjusts the mic for the person who's actually coming up to.
Oh. And then it's Lane Kiffin, dude, and Lane Kiffin. They soften the blow by like, hey, it's Lane Kiffin, but at least it's not Butch Jones, dude.
To be fair, everyone would be like, oh, okay, we can deal with this because at least he's gonna bring some entertainment.
All right, everybody just hide your sisters, and like all the boosters, just hide your wives, dude.
Yeah,
and we're gonna be fine if But Butch Jones, that would be the sleeper agent move, dude. If like Saban just, on his way out, he told the Alabama leadership, he's like, I'm tapping my guy, dude. And it was Butch Jones, dude. Just like, and you have to give it to me. I gave you guys 6 natties. So I'm basically royalty. And if you don't hire my candidate, I'm going to the streets and I'm going to run.
Yeah.
And
do you think,
go ahead. No, you got it.
I was going to say, do you think that there was a group chat between Bill Belichick and Nick Saban? Like they were just like, no, you go first.
Nah.
No, you go first. No,
right,
you go
time,
first.
Dude. Same time.
Yeah.
Belichick really needed him to retire because, Belichick was finna get fired. So he's like, come on, bro. He's like, I'm going to quit too, dude. It's like, it's going to look like I'm fired, but that's because I want to make Robert Kraft feel good, dude.
Yeah. Robert Kraft's like endings that are happy. Everyone knows that. But all right, so Belichick is out as well. Jared Mayo taking over. Some people don't realize this, but a couple years ago, when they did some contract restructuring in Jared Mayo's contract, it was set that he would take over for Bill Belichick upon Bill's no longer being in that position for whatever reason. So they didn't have to go out and look for somebody. It was immediate. Hey, Jared, you're up. So with that said, he could be there for a year. Really, I think he's just a temporary coach. I would be surprised if he becomes long-term. Obviously, he can earn that spot.
Sure.
But with the weapons they have, I don't really see this being a long-term thing. I think this is just a transitionary period for the Patriots.
Yeah, Chargers job is open. I think probably one of the more desirable locations, even though they're about $39 million over the cap this year. They have one thing that a lot of places don't have, Bob, and that's a quarterback. One of the harder aspects to find. They'll be interviewing a few different assistants. Panthers job. They fired Frank Reich midseason and had an interim candidate in there. Not a desirable job unless you like a lot of money. If you like money and are willing to deal with a bad roster with no first round pick, then this is your spot, dude, because David Tepper will throw the cash flow at whoever decides to come and take that job. No first round pick because of your quarterback that you drafted, and that quarterback doesn't seem to be too terribly promising. Let's see.
Ron Rivera out.
Ron Rivera's out. I think that could be a pretty decent job. I think, especially if you got a guy coming in willing to stick with Sam Howell. and be able to add to a different area instead of coming in and needing to get a quarterback. I think that'll definitely be
I think that
a bonus.
I think how Sam Howell was handled was a shame. We had a young guy who showed some promise, but they kept messing with who was the starter week in and week out, and it just you're not going to win like that. But
they
I
didn't
think
really
Adam
pull
Peters,
the rug.
new GM,
They didn't really pull the rug out from under him until the very end of the season, and he actually ended up starting that game anyway.
Yeah,
But I agree. I think that you can get another year with him there, and I got decent receiving core, decent skill position there.
So Commanders do have the number 2 overall pick. I mean, this draft class is going to have about 5 solid elite quarterbacks.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Caleb Williams is going to be gone more than likely. And that's, at least I would
now
say him and his agent made it clear he doesn't want to play in Chicago. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, because he threatened uncommitting from the draft if Chicago, unless Chicago says not that they're not going to take him.
Yeah, well, they can just say
which
that.
I don't want him coming to Washington because they're just going to ruin his career.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but if you're Washington and you want that guy, you move up right there. You just switch up, grab that. I'm with you. It would be a hard fall to see. That I think the Cowboys probably be looking for a new coach. What do you think? Jerry Jones has been there before. He might keep them, but
yeah.
But the biggest, let's be honest, the biggest news and the most ridiculous news, Mike Vrabel out in Tennessee. That is the silliest. I think Vrabel will have his pick of the litter for a lot of these jobs. One of the best firings was definitely Arthur Smith out in Atlanta. Obviously, that needed to happen. Anywhere you see anybody specific landing, I'm sure that Tennessee, we're actually putting together. I've heard talk, Bob, that Tennessee's putting together the first ever co-coaching trio, and we're going to go get Arthur Smith, we're going to get Adam Gase, and we're going to get Josh McDaniel, dude, and they're all going to be the head coach in one tandem, because I feel like it wouldn't be the Tennessee Titans unless you gave up a good coach after having a bad GM that really hampered his ability to coach. If you didn't go out and get the worst coach, but that's not the Titans style. Let's get all 3 of the worst coaches. So that's just my thought process, Bob. I don't know how you feel about it, but if that was the Titans, that would definitely be something that I'm looking to pursue.
Yeah. I mean, answering the serious part, which is Mike Vrabel, even I was never a big Mike Vrabel fan. I don't think he was, I think it was very clear he was never happy in Tennessee. I think he wanted out. And frankly, I think that some of the stuff he was requesting was fine and stuff that the GM should have given him. But there's some other stuff that it sounds like he was just making demands after demand, knowing that some of them would not be met, so that he could use that as a reason and as why he wouldn't want to stay.
Yeah, maybe so.
I don't think that he was ever going to stay in Tennessee. I think it's hard to Tennessee fans need to realize that Mike Vrabel abandoned you, and that you need to.
It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell when you had, for 3 years, you had a GM that made 2 notable day 1 and day 2 picks, and Jeffrey Simmons, and that's a pick that people thought he shouldn't have done because of certain things that Simmons had done previously, and AJ Brown, which doesn't count when you trade him for Treylon Burks. The amount of day 1 and day 2 draft capital that was I think it was like 15 day 1 and day 2 draft pick. You know who Christian Fulton is? Yeah, nobody does, dude, because he's a day 2, he's a second round guy for John Robinson. So while I feel that it's hard to say, I cannot see why this guy wouldn't be happy with it. Don't
get me wrong. The GM situation in Tennessee is horrible, but I think that it was a perfect storm of a shit show where you had a GM who's bad and a coach who didn't really want to be there. And, he saw, I think the moment he saw that the writing was on the wall that Belichick was gone, he wanted to be with his buddy Robert Kraft. That's all he wanted. It was And so I think once Jared Mayo's contract is up, because they were obligated to bring him as head coach, I think the Patriots will bring in Mike Vrabel, and it'll be happily ever after for him and Robert Kraft to ride off into the sunset together.
We'll see, because I mean, it will really depend on what job Vrabel goes and gets now. If the Patriots organization, I don't know that anybody ever looked at that as Kraft's baby, and he's not George Steinbrenner. That culture was put into place by Bill Belichick and to a large extent Tom Brady, and it's not a Robert Kraft culture, so I'm interested to see if the Patriot
as
way
of 3 hours
continues.
ago, Mike Vrabel is the favorite to replace Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia. Obviously Sirianni has not lost his job yet,
Sure.
but it looks from sources within the industry, as this says, that is looking promising, and that Vrabel is most likely to be heading there.
Yeah, and I think Vrabel is, with the team and a roster, can go win a Super Bowl there. I liked his style of coaching. It was, it just seemed like guys wanted to play for him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he goes and falls on his face there in Philly. I'm sure you're hoping he does. I just had a similar backlash about the Nick Saban replacement, so I can understand, Bob, that now you're twofold on board with him being terrible. So you're no longer a biased person we can talk about. We can talk to this about.
I don't have it. Let's be clear. I don't have an issue against Vrabel. I think
I'm just saying. You said
person.
You didn't think he was a great coach, so I mean, now you can double.
I didn't think he was a great coach in Tennessee. I think he's a great coach with the right fit. I just don't think he was a right.
Well, that was the only place he ever coached. So
yeah, well, just from what I've seen, I felt like his style would fit in elsewhere. But I think in Philly, I think his style would work in Philly
with good good players.
Well.
Good play. Is that the style, Bobby? Oh, you have an MVP quarterback and good roster, good receiver. You can win football games.
But all right, so let's see. Up next, we'll talk about our main topic of the day. That is the 2024 NHL All-Star Games. They will be happening February 1st through the 3rd, hosted by the Maple Leafs in Toronto. So if you're going to those, hopefully you are a billionaire, so you can actually afford to do anything out there. The All-Star Draft is returning and will happen Thursday, February 1st. Let's see. The skills competition will have a revamped format and take place on the 2nd. And the All-Star Game will finish off the festivities on Saturday, February 3rd. We have got a couple of the All-Star teams of nominees, and these have not been finalized, it looks like. But I'll run through the Eastern, and then you can take the Western. Over in the Eastern, we've got David Pastrnak, Jeremy Swayman, Rasmus Dahlin, Sebastian Aho, Boone Jenner, Alex DeBrincat, Sergei Bobrovsky, Sam Reinhart, Nick Suzuki, Jack Hughes, Matthew Barzal, Igor Shesterkin, Brady Tkachuk, Travis Konechny, Sidney Crosby, Nikita Kucherov, Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Morgan Riley, Tom Wilson to round it out.
And over in the West, we have Frank Vetrano, Clayton Keller, Elias Lindholm, Connor Bedard, who will most certainly be replaced via injury. Alexander Gorgiev, Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, Jake Ottinger, Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, Cam Talbot, Kirill Kaprizov, Philip Forsberg, who is having a phenomenal season, by the way, Tomas Hertl,
and they just announced the pregnancy.
Philip Forsberg's pregnant.
Yes.
He's probably going to be out.
It's miraculous.
He's probably going to be out in the All-Star game then. That's unfortunate, dude, to derail a great season.
He said he's going hard and he's going to play.
I'm all for people having babies, but why would you do it right here in the middle of the season, dude? You're going to derail this career year you're having, dude. Anyway, Tomas Hertl, Robert Thomas, Oliver Bjorkstrand, Brock Besser, Thatcher Demko, Quinn Hughes, JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, Jack Eichel, and Connor Hellebuck. Basically a list of who's who for sure. You definitely see some that it was odd. Elias Lindholm not having a great season. He is there because he is the Flames represented. Every team has to have one. Definitely should be Blake Coleman, in my opinion, there in that spot. Not as big of a name, but most certainly having a much better year than Lindholm is.
Yeah. I still to this date absolutely fucking hate the fact that every team has to have somebody. If no one on your team is good enough, they shouldn't make the All-Star game. It is a blatant, non-secret way. Like, they are just blatantly trying to sell All-Star game jerseys. I get it. That's all they care about, is they want to be able to say, hey, come get your All-Star jersey with your player, with a player from your team on it. That way they can sell them to, so that, you know, they're going to have a market in every city. But I just don't like the fact that they have like a representative from every single team.
That's fair. That's fair. I can get on board with that. But you definitely, I mean, I don't know. I mean, do you really, if your team
maybe
is
have
bad,
a max?
Say again.
But like, maybe have maybe say, okay, you can't have more than 5 guys from one team. But sure. I mean, but like Lindholm, the Flames, I mean,
yeah, I don't have any specific. I don't have any particular. I'm not like against what you're saying, but I just don't have any strong thought process one way or the other.
Maybe for like the skills competition and stuff. Okay, sure. You can find a way to incorporate all the teams into the skills competition, because you want to make sales and stuff, and nobody like the skill. It's for fun. And for the All-Star game, like
anything and everything that you can do to revamp this All-Star game, I would argue that it's as far as the All-Star game itself, probably second worst only to the Pro Bowl, right? I mean, you get non-competitive, not real sport, which is again fine. Nobody wants these guys to get hurt. But it's
they should put something up on the line for when they play.
Well,
obviously,
I mean, you know,
like maybe say the winning team.
You know, I mean, baseball. Well, baseball is obviously a little different, but baseball, you get home field advantage. I don't know if you still do. Used to, you got home field advantage. National or American League for winning the All-Star game. It actually gave some real stake in it. You know, like some real like.
See, I was thinking something more along the line of like, the winning conference. Each player, the NHL gives each player $3 million to go to a charity of their choice.
That sounds like a lot of money that they don't want to spend. We've already talked about how they're force feeding players onto the team so they can sell their jersey, Bobby. And so when you give ideas, they need to be going in the right direction. You've derailed it completely, because you could have said, give each player from that conference 3 pennies, dude, and we're out, dude. You've already missed the line of what they're willing to do, because
okay, so the losing conference, each player has to pay $3 million.
They have to come up with it. See, now
away from the money they would have given to charity.
Now you got guys. I wonder if you can bet on the All-Star game, Bob. You can't bet on NFL games or whatever, but can you bet on the Pro Bowl? You know, like that's not an NFL game, to be fair.
Yeah. But all right, so let's see. That about wraps up the the All-Star game.
Yeah, we'll do. Obviously, we'll bring it back when it happens. So we just
once it gets finalized, once the voting gets done, once they introduce voting, we'll obviously put out a thing for that. Let's move into games of the week.
Games of the week. Bobby and Brandon do the work, so you don't have to. The best from around the NHL and what to watch.
All right, we have got ourselves a little bit of a competition here. Brandon had himself a 3-0 week. Myself a 1-3. Currently, the standings is I am sitting at 15-10, and Bond is at 12-13. So
we tossed the betting out, dude, and I was able to clear my mind, bro. We tossed the money out, dude, and my head's not trying to do math, dude. It's like, hey, just get back to good old-fashioned trusting your gut, you know?
Yeah. But let's see. I'll start us off on Thursday, the 18th at 8 p.m., a little bit of a late start. We've got Toronto at Calgary. I'm going to be straight up with you. I'm taking all the away teams, all the traveling teams I'm taking this week.
Weirdly enough.
So I've got Toronto winning this one.
Weirdly enough, I'm going to flip-flop that on you, Bob. I'm taking straight homies. Is that how you would say that? Like, just straight homies for me, dog. Predators playing the Kings. on the 18th at 9. This is Thursday. I'm going to go with the Kings here. Obviously, I kind of just gave that away by me telling you. But then I think, no, it's actually, we got a same time. So I'll just go into mine. My next game, I got the Red Wings playing the Hurricanes, the 19th at 6. And I'm going to go with the Hurricanes here. I've got Detroit only has room for one good team, right now. So as professional team, obviously, Michigan just won a title. So just won them the Natty.
For Friday night, it's also 6 p.m. I've got New Jersey playing Columbus, and I've got New Jersey on the road. I think they go in and they decimate this Columbus team.
Yeah. If we were gambling, Bob, I'm guessing you'd probably be taking the puck line on that bad boy. Easy money.
Yeah. And then my last game, it's set at 2 p.m. I've got Winnipeg versus Ottawa. The red hot Winnipeg Jets still sitting number 1 on the power rankings. I've got them winning as they travel east to Ottawa.
Excellent. I'm also, I guess we just picked Canada games for Saturday. Saturday the 20th. We had 6 p.m. We got the Maple Leafs playing the Canucks. And obviously, as I said, I will be going with the home team, so I'm going to go with the Canucks here.
Alrighty then. Well, let's. That takes us into our joke of the week.
What are you even talking about?
The weird. Corey Perry. See, I don't like this. Wild.
I think the first read was a good one. Now I'm overthinking it.
Outlandish.
Each sixth chick sat on a stick. Little tongue twister.
And downright dumb.
You're kidding me.
It's time for the joke of the week.
All right, we head from Canada down to Texas. The only thing keeping Texas from murdering people is because they would get charged with murder, or at least that is what the governor had to say when asked about why, precautions they're taking against people crossing the border. He said that Texas Governor Greg Abbott said shooting people who cross the border is the only tool the state is not using to deter migrants, because the Biden administration would sue the state for murder, or as he puts murder in quotation marks.
What world have we come to when the government's not allowed to just shoot people, dude? Just for reason. Yeah, let's not get into immigration, but you have to see where we pretty much as a society was like, let's not do this. That's what I hate more than this, Bobby, though, is plagiarism. Because wasn't this his thing for sexual assault? Wasn't he just like, we're going to make the laws have more penalties, but we're not addressing the stopping of it. I don't know, man. What a wild thing to say. We're not shooting them because you guys would get mad if we did. It's like,
yeah. But we really, he's like, I'm just letting you know though, I really want to shoot him.
I really want to shoot. It's like, Governor, we appreciate you not shooting them. I don't want that message to get lost in this. But also, we don't want you to want to shoot them. The only reason you're not shooting them should not be because people are going to not want you to do that. You should also not want to shoot people. Just like in general, you're a governor of a large state whose state motto, mind you, the state motto of Texas, Bobby, is friendship. Okay, so I just feel like we're missing a little bit of the mark. Like, I'm not asking you to invite them to your governor's mansion for tea, though you may invite them there so you can take them to a different area. You are utilizing that tactic of trafficking. You haven't gone as far as murder yet, so let's tone it down, Governor. Just don't say that out loud. Say that at a donor meeting or whatever. Like, dude, we'd be shooting them, but
yeah, like we all know. You don't like the thing is you don't have to tell us. We all know you would. There's no like
we weren't.
No one's sitting here like I wonder what Governor Abbott would do in a situation like this.
What does Ja Rule think? Like Ja Rule. What is he?
WWGAD.
Yeah. What would Abbott do, dude? What would Governor Abbott do, dude? He'd be rolling all over the room trying to think of something to do. That's what I'm telling you for sure, dude.
All right, let's move into what's snapping their sticks.
Bobby and Brandon are about to find out exactly what snaps their sticks.
Maybe Biden will do some illegal airstrikes on him, Bob. Just some carpet bombs at the governor's mansion, dude. Yeah. He's gay. Hey. We don't know how true what Governor Abbott said was because, following the law is not 100% like a Biden deal. Like, he's got
West Texas looks a lot like your. Yeah, West Texas looks a lot like Iraq.
He's got some wiggle room when it comes to drones. He'll be like, dude, it was just brown, dude. How was I supposed to know that was Texas and not?
He's like, if it's brown, flush it down. I thought that's what that means. All right. So what's that mistake? Absolutely nothing. Listen, it's a snow day right now. We are on track for me to get a 10-day weekend pretty much. Coming off the long weekend. So I'm not going to let any negativity in on my snow day. So nothing snapped my stick today, man.
Nice, dude. And I've got one of our rare non-complaint complaints. When we were hanging out, drinking some beers yesterday afternoon, it was too cold to determine if my beer was cold enough or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was like, oh, is the beer too warm or is it just massively cold outside? And like, so it was hard. Yeah. I mean, so it's a good problem to have. Like, obviously the beer was cold, but was it cold enough? Like, oh, are all of my, refrigerators cooling things enough? So yeah, it was just one of those complaints. Like, not really sure about it. I'm going to have to do some more research.
But all right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be back next week. For Brandon, I'm Bobby. This has been Pucks Out Podcast. We'll see you all again next time.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Pucks Out Podcast. To see what other ridiculousness the guys are up to, check them out on Twitter and Instagram @PucksOutPod.